We back. We back with another one, Jay. Got to keep this intro very, very short, very sweet, man. 'Cause if you can't handle the heat, man,
Stay
stay in
out the kitchen,
the
man.
kitchen, man. We back with another episode, Hidden Takes. I feel like this is Hidden Takes episode 13, Jay. A lot of things, a lot of rumblings around the league as usual. Feels like it never fails, Jay. But one thing I was thinking, like watching all these games and seeing like what's going on in the East, what's going on in the West, more so in the East, man, is all these teams mumbling, jumbling around, Jay. Like the teams winning here, the fourth seeds beating the first seed, the third seeds beating the eighth seed. Just all this parity is what I'm trying to say, man. Jay, I've never seen that. And then you look at the MVP race as well, Jay. Um, we were going back and forth to saying this is probably the best MVP race
In a
of all
long time.
time,
Yeah.
potentially a long time, all that, Jay. But anyways, before we get started, Jay, what do you think about that? And how are you doing, brother? I didn't even ask.
I'm
Rude of
doing
me.
I'm not, brother. I'm doing good, man. I am doing good because like how you said, Jay, this has been one of the best NBA seasons that we've seen so far, one of the best NBA MVP races that we've seen. It's just super exciting. I mean, for real, we're talking about a 22-year-old that could potentially be the MVP. I mean, I wouldn't say it, but no, that I wouldn't blame somebody else if they called John Morant, the 22-year-old MVP. So Jay, I'm right there with you, bro. I'm hyped. And as always, I'm ready to talk about this hoop talk with you, my brother, man.
Yes, sir. Let's hop right into the news here. And that's the first story of the day. Our first story of the week. And this is a team who really needs it, desperately needs their guy back. And that guy is Kevin Durant for the Brooklyn Nets, saying today he's going to be making his return against the Heat, a team that we'll talk about a little bit later. I know I'll be talking about that matchup they had with the Milwaukee Bucks last night. Heartbreaking loss there on the road. But Jay, so he's back, after about 4 to 6 months, the 12-time All-Star, who's been sidelined since January, Jay, with a medial collateral ligament injury in his left knee. On Wednesday, the Nets tweeted a picture of Durant with the caption "The Return."
Okay.
And at this point, obviously we seen him. We had the chance to see him in the Bay when he was on the Warriors. We know what he did when he came back from his injury last season, and I can only expect the same thing from him. I know
For
he's
real.
been frustrated sitting out, seeing what they've been doing, not being able to win games. Really, really struggling, and he knows ultimately he was. In a way, I believe he was kind of robbed of an MVP chance with this injury. And I think he just wants to get that last end of the season MVP award. Obviously, he won't be able to win it just due to the time he missed, Jay. But how you feeling about this whole situation? Slim Reaper back.
Yeah, I'm literally right there with you. I thought, to be real with you, when you were talking to me about it at first, I thought you were gonna ask me like, what is this gonna do for the Nets? Like, I was gonna say exactly what you said. Like, we seen him come back from these injuries. Like, it's this is gonna be Kevin freaking Durant. You know who he is,
Yeah.
baby. That's what
Well,
he's gonna do.
yeah, Jay. No, I mean, that's is my question for you.
Uh,
I just didn't really ask it, but yeah, what does this mean for the Nets currently sitting at 32-31, one game above 500 in the East, and sitting at that 8th seed. But I mean, really, realistically, they're only 9 games back, and you look at the other teams in front of them. The Raptors are 6 games back, 3 games ahead of them. And then the Celtics and both the Cavaliers are only 4.5 games. So it's so bunched up there, even in those 5 to 8 CJ. But what does this mean for the Nets? You think they can make a run and get a higher seed here, move
yeah,
all the way up?
Yeah, I wouldn't say all the way up, but I would say definitely past that fifth seed, because I mean, if you look at the Cavs, which is in the fifth seed, and the Celtics that's in the sixth seed, they are both 4.5 games away from the first seed. So I think that if ultimately the Nets can pass the Celtics, they will also pass the Cavs. So yeah, I got them definitely moving up. But I do think it's going to be a little bit of a hiccup. They're going to barely move up by the end of the season because, you're integrating new players. You're integrating Seth, who's actually had a pretty important role on that Nets team as far as ball handling and making some decisions. You're adding Andre Drummond. I'm not saying he's a decision maker, but he changes the way the game is played out there. So I think that there will be a little bit of adjusting, getting Seth and Andre Drummond and all these players and Kevin Durant playing on the same level, because mind you, before KD got hurt, Seth and Andre Drummond and all these players that are making so many vital decisions were not there. So I think that, it'll take a little bit of meshing of them being able to figure it out. But I mean, like how I said, Jay, he's Kevin freaking Durant. We know who he is, baby. He's going to do what he do and get the Nets at least in that top 5 seeds. That's what I think. What about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's going to get them to a top seed. And you look at both the Celtics and the Cavs. Well, recently the Cavs got Darius Garland back, who missed a few games, but the Celtics, I know Jaylen Brown went left last game early with the ankle injury, and I know that's a big loss for them if he's not able to play games and they're missing him as their second leading scorer, as a guy who they rely on heavily. Obviously, guys like Derek White, Marcus Smart, and the rest of that bunch, their role players or supporting cast got to step up. But that's a huge loss for the Celtics if he's not able to play games there. And then I look at the Raptors as well. I know Fred VanVleet, his knee injury, as has been a huge issue with the Raptors. Having Nick Nurse has been running these guys into the ground early. With sometimes a 6-man, 5-man rotation, playing these guys extended minutes. 40 plus minutes. I know Fred leads the league in minutes. So those are two teams. Obviously, recently the Raptors were able to beat them back-to-back games, despite not having VanVleet and OGO Anunoby, who I forgot to mention is also dealing with a broken finger, I believe. So having those two guys out, the Nets have a serious opportunity to make some noise and make a run and pass the Raptors for sure, even the Celtics. And then the inexperience of the Cavaliers might catch up to them. So I could see them, like you said, catching any one of those teams, despite going with the chemistry that they're going to need to build there.
And then real quick, Jay, yeah, I'm definitely right there with you. And then just real quick, I just want to say, like, this, it's kind of crazy, Jay. Like, I mean, we know how good Kevin Durant is, but really look at the Nets. Like, they were sitting in that 1 seed, maybe 2 seed. They were kind of going back and forth with the Bulls before Kevin Durant got hurt. Like, man, Kevin Durant missed some time. They are the 8th seed now, dog. Like, they dropped 9 games away from the 1st seed, 8 games away from the 2nd seed. Like, that's ridiculous because of one player. Like, I don't know, bro. I just kind of thought about that right now. Like, that shit's crazy, bro. I just wanted to mention that.
It's wild, man. It's wild.
You got the hiccups, brother? You got the hiccups?
Yeah. No, I mean, Jay, I think I'm just, it's wild thinking about this team, bro. It's wild thinking about this team. Gave me the hiccups.
Getting the hiccups, huh, Jay?
Yeah. But Jay, let's move it forward. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And let's talk about the 2022 Kia rookie ladder and for the league right now. So right now, who's in first. Mr. Evan Mobley of the Cavaliers, 14.8 points per game, 8.2 rebounds, 2.6 assists. And then Scotty Barnes right behind him with 14.8 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists per game. And then Cade Cunningham, the first round pick, with 16 points per game, 5 rebounds and 5 assists, Jay. So those are the top 3 seeds right now, or rankings according to the NBA. Jay, you agree with these rankings? You still holding hard with Evan Mobley over there in Cleveland?
Yeah, I'm still hard on Evan Mobley. I'm literally right there. I love the way that rankings is. Yes, Evan Mobley has been the guy. I knew he was going to be the guy coming into it. Scotty Barnes, I have to admit, I did not think he was going to be this good. I was so wrong. I remember even talking to you after at the draft, and I was like, Jay, like, what's Toronto doing? They could have chucked Jalen Suggs, the best athlete in the draft, and all of this and all that. But I mean, good thing I'm not Masai Ujiri, because I would have got it very wrong, because Scotty Barnes is balling out. And Cade Cunningham, man, he is the Luka of the future. And I know it's like, what? Luka's still young, but he's like a younger version of Luka, dog. He's out there doing a little bit of everything. I cannot wait to see him in the league, years to come. I'm talking like 10, 20, I'm 10, 12 years down the line. Maybe not 20, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean, they're all 3 great players, I think, just in their own right. But Evan Mobley, I think, is just putting in the most work and could ultimately be said that he has the biggest opportunity. I know Scotty Barnes, just in his role on the team, it's tough to be in that situation because he's the 3rd, 4th option most nights. So
What about with Cade though? How would you feel? Who do you think, Cade or Mobley got? Because I think Mobley got. I mean, he got some trees over there. He had to beat Kevin Love out, Laurie Markkinen, Jared Allen. Like there's some bigs he had to beat out. I think Cade kind of had that spot given to him. Or what do you feel about that?
I think Cade had the spot, but with that also being said, that he had to beat all those guys out. Evan Mobley also comes with the fact that they're both Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley are playing with some good players, some good NBA players. Can't be said for Cade Cunningham. I mean, the best player on the Detroit Pistons, respectfully, is probably Jeremy Grant,
who was in trade talks.
Saying much. Yeah, who's in trade talks. So I mean, just Detroit's not a good NBA basketball team, and that's just the truth for Cade. So he's doing all this despite that, learning on as he goes. He doesn't really have Fred VanVleet. He doesn't have Pascal Siakam, these champions on his team. And then the same for Evan Mobley. Kevin Love's won a championship. He's getting that mentorship night to night, practice to practice. And that's huge.
I didn't even think about that.
Way, man.
I didn't even think about that, Jay.
It's a little give and take, right? He's getting that. And Kevin Love from the beginning, Jay, I'm sure he's comfortable coming off the bench knowing that he needs to give all his fruit of knowledge to this guy and this young team, because he knows that will ultimately keep them afloat and possibly make a little bit of a run here in the playoffs, or at least make the playoffs as well. So.
Man, that's I didn't even think about that, Jay. Yeah, that's actually a huge game for both Mobley and Scotty Barnes. So yeah, I'm right there with the rookie ladder, Jay.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jay. We're about more than halfway through the season, and I just want to play a little game here with the folks and see how you're feeling on the landscape of the league right now. So I'm going to give you just a series of questions. If the award show were to happen today, the MVP of the NBA would be ... You have to answer that question and just give me a reason why it's that person. If your 2022 NBA champions are ...
Okay.
And then you have to answer that question. And then the 2022 NBA Finals MVP is ... So we going all the way.
We putting it on wax, Jay. All right.
The NBA six man. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask all of these and the NBA Coach of the Year, all these questions.
Oh man.
I'm gonna give you some time if you need to pull up anything, Jay. But let's just start it off right now with the NBA Coach of the Year is.
The NBA Coach of the Year has to be Eric Spoelstra, in my opinion. I mean, yes, we know the Miami Heat got some fighters out there, but I don't think that the Miami Heat has a roster to be the number one seed and be beating out Bucks, Philly, and I guess I would say Nets, but not right now with Nets. But I don't think the Miami Heat has a record to be has a talent to be over there, man. So for them to be at that number one seed, I would have to give that auto to Eric Spoelstra. So I'm riding high with Eric Spoelstra, man. Miami Heat.
Okay. For me, I'm gonna have to go with JB Bickerstaff, man.
Ooh, JB, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, JB Bickerstaff. I mean, no one thought before the season that the Cavs would be in this position. I mean, there's been no clear as great. No, I love the Eric Spoelstra choice. I mean, I feel like Eric Spoelstra could win Coach of the Year every single year, which is kind of a blessing and a curse because he's considerate it for it and could be deserving of every year. But will the NBA give it to Eric Spoelstra every year? Most likely no. Monty Williams definitely in there. I believe he should have been at the head coach of the year last year. So he definitely has a case for being the coach of the year this year. But I mean, it's kind of tough because they were the best team. Sorry, they were the runners up and made it to the NBA Finals. So it's kind of hard to top that. But I mean, he really is because they're 50-12 with the best record in the NBA, despite having CP3 and Devin Booker both out for some time. You know, Devin Booker early in the season and Chris Paul now. So they're still able to stay afloat. So, I mean, well, I guess Devin Booker again with COVID protocols as well. So, I mean, deserving team, but I just look at the Cavs and I just see like from where they were to one of the worst teams in the league. I know for me, myself, and you, we had predicted them being one of the at the bottom of the East again this year, and to be 10 games above 500, sitting in that 5 spot in a very competitive, dangerously good Eastern Conference is just unbelievable in my opinion. So I'm gonna give it to JB Bickerstaff and the Cavaliers as their 2022 NBA Coach of the Year, Jay. But let's move it to the next award. Definitely last but not least. Not last award we're gonna do, but that's the NBA Sixth Man of the 2021-2022 NBA season is.
You know that, boy. You heard it on the intro. Tyler Hero, play it, baby. Tyler Hero has been coming out, and he has been balling out for them. I'm looking like a Miami Heat fan right now, man. Tyler Hero's been coming out, man. He's been balling out. He's been coming off the bench, and he's been exactly what the Heat's needed. The Heat, their starting lineup has been a lot more structured, run plays, and when Tyler Hero comes in, it really reminds you of that young Lou Will. Just get in and just go score, to go get a bucket, and that's exactly what Tyler Hero's been doing, man. So I'm gonna keep riding high because I said this earlier in the year, so I'm gonna keep riding high with Tyler Hero for my sixth man. But who would you put on wax, Jay?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's Tyler Hero for sure. We seen what he did last night, taking over that game, and Miami should have won that game, but we're gonna get into that later, as I keep saying here. And that with that 30-piece, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and that's similar to what he's been doing, like you said, being that spark plug off the bench, understanding his role, being a star in his role, and running that point duties for the Heat off the bench. Everything you could ask for if you're Eric Spoelstra in the Heat. So yeah, there's been other players that have had good long some good stretches throughout the season, but no one's been as consistent this whole season as Tyler Hero. So that's the sixth man of the year for us. But Jay, let's keep it pushing here. Let's go with the defensive player of the year. And I think this is gonna be a tough one for the 2022 NBA season is, and that's Jay, that's the Greek freak, man.
Oh,
Giannis.
That's a good one.
Antetokounmpo, man.
That's a good one.
The way he changes the game defensively night to night. It's just unbelievable. Averaging 1 steal a game, 1.4, 1.4 blocks, but it's not even the stats. I mean, anyone can put stats out to fit a narrative and fit what they want to talk about. Giannis does it on the floor. Like any hoop head, anyone who understands basketball and can see the game, sees his effect and what he does, the energy he brings, how he changed shots, how he's able to defend multiple positions on the floor, his tenacity, and how it rubs off on his teammates as well. I think that defense has suffered for the Bucks without Brook Lopez and his presence and his ability to change shots. But I think they have a chance because Giannis is so good on the floor, and why they haven't suffered as much with Brook Lopez, albeit their defense has really dramatically dropped. But his ability to stay afloat and keep them be able to defend multiple positions, like I said, has kept them relevant and kept the Bucks still a very extremely hard team to beat. So I got to go with Giannis for the defensive player of the year this year.
Damn, that's a good defense. But Giannis is just, you could give him every award just like that. But yeah, I love that.
What would you say if someone said Joel?
I would love Joel. I would love Joel as defense player of the year. But I think that people are more focused on the MVP narrative around Joel right now than to give him that defensive player of the year.
And Jay, you mentioned it, man.
MVP?
The 2022 NBA MVP is
Joel Embiid. Give it to Joel Embiid. Give it to Joel Embiid. Because look, now this is for me, Jay. This goes a couple of years back. Like I've been thinking Joel Embiid should have been the MVP, maybe like for the last like 2 years, but he never was able because he played like 47 games. And I get it. I totally get it. Like, how can you give MVP to somebody that played 47 games? But in those 47 games that he played, just in my opinion, the best player in the league. I mean, when he's playing at that level, I'm talking about we got a 7-foot guy bringing the ball down court, step back, mid post. We got a 7-foot guy who has crazy footwork to be able to get in the low post and move around the low post. We have a 7-footer who can get to the free throw line and actually knock down free throws. We have a 7-footer who can shoot threes. He can do a bit of everything. He can guard on the perimeter. He can guard down low, and he should have been had MVP in my opinion for the past 2 years. So for me, like, this is also something that I've been waiting on because I know he deserved it. The only thing that would take away from him being MVP, in my opinion, at this point, would be if like some catastrophic injury happened and he didn't play for the rest of the season. I know I've been hearing a lot of rumors around like James Harden hurting his MVP candidacy, and I can understand that. But I mean, I would hate to see him get robbed again, man. What he's doing this year deserves an MVP, in my opinion. I mean, look at where Philly is, dog. Like, James Harden just got here a couple days ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Philly's been.
That was my next question for you, Jay. I had not to interrupt. Yeah, but that was my next question for you. Does James Harden hurt his chances? Because I mean, that is an issue, despite being like just as good. I think that it does have an effect, whether or not it will be enough to hurt his chances, because like you said, he's extremely deserving. But I still think the Joker has done enough to stay. Dang. And I think but that's how close this race is. If someone said Nikola Jokic, I'd say like, okay, I can understand. You make the case for him. Someone says DeMar DeRozan, you can make the case. If someone says Ja Morant, you can make the case. Because I mean, if someone said, which from the future and said Ja Morant won the MVP, I'd be like, okay, I could see why. I don't know what happened between now and then, what other performance he had, but from what he's done to this point, I mean, the dude's just unreal.
Unreal.
I know you're going to be talking about that historic night coming up here shortly, but man, but I will add this. To that, I think the honeymoon phase is over for the Sixers, and we're going to see really what they're made of. I mean, they played some decent teams. They played the Knicks twice and the Timberwolves, who are, a decent team playing solid right now. But the schedule they have coming up, I think, is going to determine or have a big say, let's put it that way, in what Joel Embiid's MVP status is looking like after these 4 games. We're really going to have a good indication. And that's schedules versus tomorrow at home versus the Cavaliers, and a good team, on the road against the Heat on March 5th, March 7th back at home against the Chicago Bulls, and then March 10th back at home against the Brooklyn Nets. We don't know if Ben Simmons is going to be playing in that. We know KD and Kyrie will be playing in that game. So those 4 games coming up will have a big say, Jay, in my opinion, on where Joel Embiid's at. And if he can make a serious case, they win all 4 of those games and he balls out, that's going to be another check on his campaign and his run for the MVP. So,
man, so real quick, Jay, let's talk a little bit about, with Jokic, because like I'm right there, like with you, like Jokic's individual performance has been like crazy, right? But like, and I know we were talking the other day and we were talking about like that terrible Westbrook MVP season. Like, yeah, like he averaged triple-double, but he didn't win, which I 100% agree. So like, but Jokic isn't really winning to the crazy level. And I get it, not because his fault, Murray and PJ and all this. So like, where is like, to you, or like, just I guess to the average hoop head, like where is that cutoff line of like, all right, well, you got to at least be like doing this so you can be considered for an MVP? Because I agree, Westbrook, crazy season, but he was the 8th seed, like averaging triple-double 8th seed that season. Like, that's cool, but got to win. So like, where's that cutoff? Where's that cutoff for you? Because right now, I mean, the Nuggets are sitting in the 5th seed, I believe, right? No, the 6th seed. So where is that cutoff for you, Jay?
I think, I mean, that's a good question. I think that he needs to move up, but they're right there, the Mavericks, and I think the top 4 seed for me is where they need to cut off. But I don't think that's unrealistic to see them, flirting with it. They're only 3.5 back on the Jazz, who are 10.5 back of the Suns. So I think they can make a run at it. And but it's a top 4 seed for me, for Nikola Jokic. I thought that was an outlier that year.
That was, yeah.
With
Westbrook, yeah,
with Westbrook.
But I understand, like, no
deserving
one's
of
seen
it,
that
though.
deserving, but I also understand the other side of it as well, though. You know, you got to win a little bit.
I changed my way. I take that back. Deserving, and maybe in the sense that if we're looking from a statistical, the statistical that he broke the triple double record that season, but as we know, numbers aren't everything you can do, and to fit a narrative in that season, he did, won the MVP for that. I mean, that year, I know LeBron had a great season. The company, I mean, we can even go back and see who he won it over that year. But
I think to be honest, it was more of the NBA just such in shock. Like, whoa, what in the world? Like, so yeah, because I agree that the inefficiency was horrendous. Like, they got knocked out first round. Like, the MVP should not get knocked out first round. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Jay. We don't even gotta give Westbrook any time of the light.
Yeah. All right, Jay. The NBA champions. 2022 Jay. NBA champions, Jay.
Jay.
This might be right now. We said the champions, and you can look back and someone from the future comes and says this team won the championship, and then this player was the MVP. Jay, who is it?
I mean, you talked about him earlier, Jay. We talked about the man that does everything on the court. I think the Bucks are gonna go back to back, man, and Giannis is gonna bring home that MVP. I mean, the way the Bucks are playing, I even texted in the group chat, like, they're just adding so many good damn role players off the bench, and we know when come playoffs, that's what's important. And having a player who can do it all. Wink, wink, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they just been playing ridiculous, man. I mean, you lose Brook, and then you're able to bring Serge, who can, in a way, do the same thing that Brook can. So you really fill up that same hole. Giannis has only gotten better. I mean, remember, he didn't really pull up as much last year. He's pulling up a little bit more this year. He's a little more confident now, and more than anything, he's been there now. We know there's a difference between somebody that hasn't been there and somebody that has been there. If Giannis goes to the playoffs, or, I mean, of course he's going to the playoffs. If he goes to the finals, he's not walking in that building like, wow, the NBA finals. He's walking here like, I got some swag, I got some hip to me, like, I'm ready to go. And I think that's going to be a difference maker, in my opinion. But Jay, I need to know yours, Jay. This is crazy, actually.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I see why you'd say the Bucks and all that they've done, but I just still think the health of Brook Lopez, as much as they brought in Serge Ibaka, he's not Brook Lopez and what he brings. Like, Serge Ibaka was a great addition, but he's past his prime. He's past what he can do. His health is a question mark as well, and I think they need Brook Lopez back in that lineup, which they might have him. So I could see why in a future you would come back, or future someone would come back and say, yeah, the Bucks won the championship this year, are going to win the championship. So I could see that. And the MVP is Giannis with that series?
Yeah, I'm going Giannis with that series. Jay, what's up, baby? What's up, my boy?
Jay. And this isn't I mean, it's going to sound like a homer take, but Jay, it's the golden. I think this is the year, man.
I mean,
I think this is the year of the Warriors, man. And it's not in the sense that I think that, and this is a lot of if and but and maybes, because we still haven't seen Clay, we still haven't seen Draymond, we still haven't seen Steph all play together. But Jay, I just think that
Wiseman. But I gotta add that.
It's true, Jay, but I don't think Wiseman, especially how late he's coming back, can make enough of an impact. But I think they're going to be able to, with all the weapons that they have, going to be able to, and I hope Wiseman can be a part of that, but they're going to be able to get it together, put it together, a run here towards the end of the season. And I just think the versatility they have, they can pretty much match up with anyone except team who has a big man, which is concerning, but I think their shooting ultimately will be able to make up for that, Jay. And I think I hope, and I think it's going to be Steph will win the MVP. I think it's about time that he wins it, because if he doesn't, they're not winning it, in my opinion. If he doesn't win the finals MVP, the Warriors aren't winning a championship. If he's not playing the best playoff basketball of his career, in my opinion. So if someone says the Warriors win the finals, it's because Stephen Curry was playing at the highest level he can. So that's what I got, Jay.
I feel
But
it, Jay, and
I think yeah, sorry,
no,
it's
no.
crazy because you could say so many. I think anyone could say so many teams and say the reason they won it, and I'd be like, okay, you
Yeah,
know, I mean,
no,
that's how
it's crazy.
close anyone could win. Say Phoenix, you could say Philly. I was surprised you didn't even say Philly. Like, I mean, maybe someone's surprised I didn't say Philly. You know,
Mhm.
it's just so close.
Yeah, Jay, and then honestly, like the only, I mean, I still in Wiseman, just joking around because that's my
Mhm.
guy. I like him a lot,
Yeah.
but I that point that you brought up, with as far as the big man, that's also why I think Wiseman is going to be so key to coming back.
Mhm.
While I agree he's young, while I agree he may not be the player that the potential is out there for him to be, I think that it'll be important for him to be back because just like how you said, I also have concern about when it comes playoffs and the Warriors have to, if they have to
Mhm.
face Embiid in the finals. Like that would be
Yeah.
scary. If they had to face a Giannis in the finals, that would be
Mhm.
scary. I even think, to be honest with you, if they had to face a DeAndre Ayton, I'm not saying DeAndre Ayton is head and heels above
Mhm.
all these the Warriors bigs, but again, what does he have? That same thing I just talked with Giannis. Oh, NBA Finals. Now he been there, right? Steph, yeah,
Mhm.
Steph been there, but like if you look at that team, like Steph been there, Clay been there, Dre been there. The rest of the
Yeah.
players ain't really been there like that, so they're kind of
Yeah.
gonna be shocked. A DeAndre Ayton, he's got that little step
Mhm.
to him, got that little stutter. Oh, I've been here before, so that's the only issue that I would have. That's why I threw Wiseman in there because I think that Wiseman could be the solution to that
Mhm.
issue.
Don't forget my guy Loon. Loon's
Oh,
been
no,
there.
Loan. Let
But
me
but I
not
mean that's
disrespect.
one man. No, you're right. You're right. That's one man. That's one man, and that's why I said they need a backup big. Like I don't ever see Wiseman starting over Looney just because simply how he fits in with that lineup. And I mean, ultimately, he's earned the Spartans starting spot, but you can see he's getting banged up. And yeah, you're right, Jay. They do need. But I here's where I say it's not going to be a big enough impact, even if he's giving maybe like 10 to 15. I don't think it will be a significant time that we
Wiseman?
see Wiseman. Yeah, I don't think it will be significant because Jay, the integration, him getting comfortable playing with all these guys.
I don't know, Jay. I
Um,
think I'm just too bullish, bro. I don't know, Jay. I
yeah.
really think he's like so damn good, bro. Like he's a big that can do everything. He just needs to put on weight. Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know,
We'll
Jay.
see though. I've been
We'll see. We'll
hearing there's
see.
been rumblings. Yeah, there's been rumblings. He's been playing. He's playing. Well, obviously scrimmaging again, but he's been looking good in the scrimmages. But that's remains to be seen if it happens in games, right? But
Yes,
anyways,
sir.
Jay, I know you got a certain performance to talk about. That was
Oh
cool. And
yeah.
yeah, let's
Let's get into that,
talk
Jay.
about it. Let's see what you got to say about
Wow.
that.
All right. So I know this game was from a couple of days ago. This game was actually
Got
from
to
Monday.
talk about it though.
They gotta talk about it. I gotta talk. It's
Yeah.
from Monday. The Grizzlies beat the Spurs 118-105. And I mean, if you even just like aren't living under a rock, you know why I'm talking about this game. John Morant scored 52 points, a ridiculous performance. But I mean, let's talk about the game real quick. I mean, the Grizzlies came out on fire. Jay shot 74% from the field and 80% in the paint in that first quarter, and they put up 42 points on the Spurs. And then John Morant started that game just aggressively attacking the hoop. But what I really liked about John, and I'll even get to this later on a little bit, I'm going to talk about his performance individually, but like he was so good at not having the tunnel vision. Like at first he was attacking to the hoop, but then a pop start switching the defense up, and now Ja throw these little dump off passes where he just dumps it off last minute to Steven Adams, and he's just so damn good at those. And it's just so great to see Ja like seeing the game and reading the game. And I mean, what's crazy is like Jay, for a 52-point performance, like you would think this game would have been a blowout, but this game was actually a lot closer than it was, and that's because the Spurs, the Spurs and Pop did their thing. I mean, like the Spurs scored 34 points in the first quarter. Lonnie Walker was keeping up with Ja, man. Lonnie Walker scored 13 points himself in the first quarter, and Ja scored 14. The Spurs took care of the ball, didn't turn the ball over the entire first quarter. The first turnover they had was with 2 minutes left in that second quarter.
Jeez.
And then the
Mhm.
Spurs really, 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 and this is where I want to take, I guess, a little bit of like a break from the game and just give some praise to Pop, Jay, because like
Mhm.
second quarter, like I really saw the Spurs I really saw Pop think the game through and switch his entire game plan to adjust to Josh. So in the first quarter, they're running a man. Josh torching them. They put 42 points. Second quarter, Popovich switches to his zone defense. Memphis only scores 24 points, and they're really able to kind of slow Ja down. And I just really wanted to give the praise to Pops, Jay, because like I feel like Ja Morant is the type of player where you plays or not, he's good enough to go get you a 50 ball just off rip, off talent. I don't think the Spurs have a single player that off rip, off talent can get you a 50 ball, but they can win as a team. They can do that as a team. And that's exactly what Pop did, man. He had the bench contributing. He all started scored in double digits. So, I mean, I just real quick just wanted to give some praise to that. But now let's talk about Ja, Jay. Let's talk about Ja. And this is what separates the boys from the men. Like, this is really what separates the boys from men because, you know, like I mentioned, Lonnie Walker and DeJounte Murray, they were in the first half, they were trading buckets with Ja. They were going at it. It was Lonnie Walker scored, DeJounte Murray scored, John Morant scored. They were going at it. But then the second half came, Jay, that's when the real men came out. That's when the boys went home and the men came out because DeJounte Walker and DeJounte Murray and Lonnie Walker both capped out at 21 and 22 points, while John Morant was just getting started at half. He had 29 points on 80% from the field, Jay. And in the first quarter, he scored 14 points. In the second quarter, he scored 15. Third quarter, he scored 10. In the third quarter, he scored 13 points. Second quarter, he scored. Sorry about that. Sorry. Second quarter, he scored 10, and in the fourth quarter, he scored 13 points. So he really put double digits each quarter, man. And I mean, you know, I was talking to Junior, and shout out Junior because he called me about after that John Morant performance, and he brought up a great point that I honestly didn't even think about. He said John Morant did this on 4 of 7 from the free throw line. That means he only made 4 free throws. I mean, he scored 48 real buckets. Like 48.
Shout out Embiid.
Shout out Embiid, huh? Shout out. That's what Junior said. So like, because bro, like that means he only scored 4 points from the free throw line. That's 48 points in real buckets. That is insane, Jay. Like, man, and I mean, to end the game, I mean, John Morant ended the game. I'm sure everyone's seen it. 52 points, 7 rebounds, a ridiculous 73% from the field, 100% from the 3-point line, did not miss, and 57% from the free throw line. A ridiculous game, Jay. Like, honestly, I best performance of the year, in my opinion, so far. Like, I haven't, and I've been watching DeMar, and that's how good I feel, bro. Like, this is by far the best performance of the year. Just want to read this last quick stat. John Morant, he's only 22 right now. This is his 6th game having 40 points or more this season. These are some other players who scored 6 or more, who had 6 or more games with 40 plus points under the age of 23. Very good company. Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Shaq, Trae Young, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, T-Mac, and Amari Stoudemire. John Morant is the truth. God damn, Jay.
Damn, that's of elite company, man. Hey, what a summary, man. I just have to say a little bit about that, Jay. Like the energy and what he does, Jay. We were talking about it as well. The league, I don't really see everything like that. I mean, we've seen the AI comparisons, but is he really like AI? We've seen the Derrick Rose comparisons. Is he really like Derrick Rose? I think he's different. And ultimately has some of their aspects of their game, Jay. But John Morant is him. He's one of one. He's one of one. I don't think the league really hasn't seen anything like him. Generational talent, man. That's all I can say about him. But what an incredible performance, though. I don't think we'll see anything like that. That explosion, that explosiveness he plays with, the fun he even plays with, man. It's infectious. You see it rub off on the rest of his team, so it's fun to watch. But Jay, let's talk about team you were talking about, and that I think I've been saying the whole episode that I'm looking forward to talking about, and that's the Bucks in a stunning, huge rally win to come back at home with a 120-119 win over the Miami Heat. hashtag Heat Nation,
Heat
Heat
Nation,
culture,
Heat
man.
culture,
What a
baby.
win, though. I think if you're the Heat, it's a disappointing win. The Heat, I just got to say, started off by saying, they were shooting the crap out of the ball last night, just seemingly to bury the Bucks, despite the defensive problems. That's why I said they were able to penetrate and kick and get paint touches throughout the game, and it led to a lot of open threes that the Heat were capitalizing and knocking them down throughout the game, Jay. And this was a game that we've seen the Bucks coming down, rallying. Where have we seen this again? I don't know. Maybe the NBA Finals last season, where they were just seemed like always rallying back whenever the Suns looked like they were going to win the game. The Heat, just led by Giannis, led by his energy, um, the Bucks would find a way to get it done. Exactly the same story. Giannis, who had 28 points, 17 boards, and 5 assists last year, and he says he was quote last after the game saying, "We've done it before. We did it against Boston when we were down 13 in the Christmas game with 5 minutes left, and came back and won the game." So the Bucks are really no stranger to this, and it's exactly why I see your point about the Bucks and their championship DNA, been there, done that. And despite being down, there was a point about with 7 minutes or 6 minutes where the Heat had made some back-to-back string of buckets, getting stops here. And I thought to myself, this game isn't over, but I know that the Bucks have been here. They've done that. They've been in a position where a lot of people have counted them out. They've been down 2-0 in a series, matter of fact, and they still got that core. They had Drew. They had Middleton making big buckets. One of those plays that sticks out to me was they were down 4 with under a minute on the clock. Chris Middleton knocks down a huge 3 transition off a turnover to cut the game to 1, and that was one play. And I'm just fast forwarding to the fourth quarter, obviously, in this recap. And then they were inbounding the ball up 1. That is the Heat. Throw it in. The Bucks get a tie up. They lob it over to Jimmy Butler. The Bucks get a tie up. Kind of a questionable pass, obviously, because it allowed for the defense of the Bucks to collapse on Jimmy Butler, which led to a jump ball between, I think, Giannis and Jimmy Butler. Giannis won or whoever was in the tip off at the center circle won the ball. Giannis got it, flipped it to Drew Holiday, who brought it down the floor with 1.9 seconds left, bumped Gabe Vincent off of him to finish over Bam Adebayo to win the game, man. And they rallied from 14 point deficit, Jay, in the final 6 minutes of that game to beat the Miami Heat, Jay. And what a win it was, man. The Bucks outscored the Heat 21-6 down the stretch to snap the Heat's four-game winning streak. And like I said, the Heat shot the shit out of it, Jay. They shot 21 of 44 from 3-point range. And I thought it was closing time, obviously, when they brought on Tyler Hero, their 6th man who had 30 points off the bench. And in the fourth quarter, Jay, he was just taking over. Like I mentioned, the paint touches, getting downhill against the Bucks, which adds to that rim protection, which they're lacking. And it was on full display there. And it sounds weird how I'm saying the rim protection and all those threes, but when you're able to get paint touches and cause all that, the defense to collapse into the paint, there's going to be those openings. And that doesn't happen with Brook Lopez, man. But Jay, wild game without even getting into the stats. But I will say this, Jimmy Butler, man, where you at, Jay?
Jimmy Butler, man,
with 36, Jimmy Butler with 0 points, Jay, when the last 36 minutes of that game, 0 points.
Man, that's embarrassing. Jay. That's embarrassing.
And that is a concern that I will highlight that I have for the Miami Heat is when I look at their roster and you look at teams who have a true go-to guy. And when I look at the Heat, I don't see that. I think that Jimmy Butler, when he struggles, is is because like he relies on his mid range. He relies on getting physical and getting in downhill, manning up on guys. And I think the defense is getting used to that. And we're seeing that they're struggling to score, Jay. And despite all these players that they had in double figures, it just goes to show you they don't have a true, player who's gonna, night to night. He's given us. They don't have a Giannis, man, and I think that's a concern for me. But if you're Jimmy Butler, 6 points ain't gonna cut it, man. It really ain't gonna cut it.
Not
So,
gonna cut it.
But what do you think about that, Jay? Do you think that that's a concern? Is that a concern for you? The Heat, in my opinion, not having a true number one, and night to night, not knowing where they're going to get their majority of their points from.
100%, Jay. And that's also a reason as to why, like earlier, I was referencing Eric Spoelstra as the head coach. Like they don't have the number one guy. They don't have a guy that Eric Spoelstra can just say, ISO, give him the ball, get out the way. They don't have a Tatum. They don't have a Curry. They don't have a KD. They don't have a Bron. They don't have a get out the way and give him the ball, and it'll probably be a bucket or a foul line, right? Like they just don't have that. And I'm right there with you, Jay. That is a huge concern because I feel like when it gets to the game, when the game gets to a certain level, whether it's playoffs or whether late in the game, it just kind of gets to the point where, man, who's going to score? Like, it's like, forget that little run that play. Come out here, guard me. I'm gonna break you down. I'm gonna get past you, or I'm gonna shoot, or I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna shoot. And the Bucks have that in Giannis. The Bucks, Loki, even have that in Jrue Holiday, as you like how you just referenced to. He hit the game winner for them, and I would even stretch to say they have that in Chris Middleton. But the Heat don't at all. So I'm right there with you, Jay. That is definitely a sign of concern, especially come playoffs when the best players just take over. I mean, it just kind of reminds me of last year in the finals. It didn't really seem like Giannis was just thinking the game. Like, no, he was just like, I'm just going to bulldoze everyone. Like, I dare someone to get in front of me. I'm the best player on the court. And the Heat don't have that, unfortunately.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jay, I think this is a good place for us to go ahead and wrap it up here, man. We covered a lot. We did our early takes on finals, MVP, on all these awards, Jay. We talked about some games. We did a lot of fun things, man. So you got any last things to say before we wrap up here, brother?
No, Jay. Another great episode, man. Looking forward to the rest of the week in the league.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. So for all the fans, man, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, man. It is at Clutch Talk Pod. We be on there posting all the time, man. Consistent content about the NBA polls, episode updates, and all that, man. But if that's it, then we out of here, y'all. Clutch Talk out.
Peace.